Hey bakers, today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect vanilla cake. So much vanilla, so much butter, so much deliciousness. Let's get started. Starting off with 213 grams or about 1 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour. You could also use cake flour if you wanted to. Oh, that was so close to perfect. 213, there we go. A little bit less than a teaspoon of salt, it's kind of up to you. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 cup of white granulated sugar, that's 200 grams. Sift it, whisk it up. We're gonna set it aside and work on the very wet ingredients. Into a bowl, I'm adding 3/4 cup or 176 grams of butter. Not melted, not solid. You could use room temperature butter, you could use melted butter. I've come to enjoy this texture. 1/2 cup of whole milk, 1/2 cup of sour cream, 3 egg whites. This recipe uses egg whites because I like my vanilla cakes to be a little paler. The yolks make it a beautiful yellow cake. I'll often color these and make the cake like pink or, even light blue sometimes, so a lighter cake will also hold its color better. If you want to use the whole egg, totally fine. Just remove 1/4 cup of the sour cream. I'll clean that up later. Shh. 3 egg yolks later. This can be set aside and make a delicious lemon curd, a raspberry curd, so many wonderful things. 1 tablespoon, 15 milliliters of vanilla extract. Now I'm gonna whisk this up. If you see little clumps of butter hanging around, don't worry about it. One little bit, it'll all even out when you add it to the dry and bake it, it'll be fine. But right now, let's just give it a whisk. That's whisked up, we're gonna pour the wet into the dry and just mix to combine, plus a little extra. All right, now let's whisk. Gently, not messily. You could also use a paddle attachment in a stand mixer, or you could use an electric mixer with little hand beaters if you want. So I just gave it a whisk for like 30 seconds. You can see now it's a nice, smooth, cohesive batter, and this is the right consistency. You could use a baking spray if you want. I've been doing that lately because I am often cutting it really close on time, but my preferred way to prep a pan is by just rubbing some cold butter, because cold you use less, onto the pan and then flouring it. So move that butter around, take a tablespoon of flour, and then just kick it around. Get the sides, and then tap it onto the next pan. Perfect. And just repeat the process. A little blessing of extra flour for that cake mix. Now I'm going to use a scale to get the exact same amount of cake into each pan. I like to have really even layers, but if you can't or don't have access to a scale, just use a toothpick, like an oil gauge kind of, and you can see how much batter is in each pan. So, $280. This recipe does not make any extra batter. So even though it tastes delicious right now, don't eat it. I'm using some cake strips. These are really beat up and ratty. I make a lot of cakes, but they're just wet fabric strips. These are from Wilton. There are many brands. You can make your own out of fabric. You can make them out of tin foil and paper towels. You can click up here to see how they work and how to make your own. They give you perfect flat cake layers that are really nice and tender on the sides. There's no trimming needed and they come out just perfect for stacking. I love using them. I highly encourage you to start as well if you do cake decorating and multi-layer cakes. These are gonna go into the oven at 350 for about half an hour. You will see the center get springy when you touch it and the edge will pull away from the pan. That's how you know when they're done. If you underbake your cakes, the bottom might not release and things will get a little sad. So just make sure they're perfectly done. Keep an eye on them. While those cake layers are baking up, I'm gonna whip up a quick and easy batch of American vanilla buttercream. Such a classic, so easy, so sweet. But a whole other group of people think that it's too sweet. So for them, we could make a Swiss meringue buttercream. Also, very easy. It takes a couple more minutes, so I'm not gonna lie, but it gives you the creamiest, silkiest frosting you can imagine. Not too sweet, Very versatile, and it is perfect for piping. You can do anything with it. It's kind of amazing. But back to our American buttercream. This is gonna be so much faster than that. Here I have 3 sticks, which is 1.5 cups of unsalted butter at room temperature, and I'm gonna gracefully drop it in there. Gold medal for John. Cream it up just for a few seconds. Good. And now we're gonna add in some confectioner sugar. Normally, I would sift all of this up. This is a brand new bag, it's probably fine, but if I was piping buttercream roses or something with a fine piping tip, I don't want anything to clog it up. Today, I'm not doing any of that. It's gonna be a nice and quick, beautiful, easy cake, so just dump the sugar in several batches, and then mix on low. You might wanna cover it with a tea towel if needed. I'm gonna add my vanilla in now. A little bit of moisture helps get things started. Okay, it's getting smooth. I'm gonna add in a little bit more sugar. A little bit more sugar into the bowl. That's more than half a pound left over. Just keep mixing. No. Back to the tea towel. There you go. My mixer needed a babushka. Final batch of sugar in there. Just a little bit of a modesty towel. I'm adding in a very healthy teaspoon of salt right now. I meant pinch, but it's about a teaspoon. I wanted to show you that as you whip the buttercream up, it becomes fluffier and lighter in color. Now it's much paler and it's good. I'm gonna add a little bit more vanilla in though. 2 shots of vodka later. And there we go. So this is done. I am gonna add in just a drop of soft pink food coloring because I feel like the cake would look kind of like a sad wedding cake if it was just like a white cake with white frosting on top. We're gonna make it pop a little bit with some pink. 1 drop. There we go. Let's see. That's nice. I'm gonna add another drop in. Okay, 2 drops of coloring in. Scrape the bowl down, even though I'm using a scraping paddle attachment. Gonna gracefully add in 1 tablespoon of cream just to thin it out a tiny bit. Good, that's nice. Cake layers are just out of the oven. The nice thing about those cake strips, in addition to the flat layers, is it lets you handle the cake quickly because the pan's real hot. Dumping out. Very nice. A little bit darker than I would have wanted, but that's totally fine. Very soft. You see how pillowy that is? And it smells delicious. You can see the cake has pulled away from the pan, and if you're ever wondering like, oh, how do I know if it's ready or not? You can shake it around a little bit, and if it kind of shakes around in the pan, it's ready to come out. If it's stuck, it might need another minute. Perfect. All right. This is the one that needed another minute. Let's see if it worked. Yeah, just baked. It's like a Goldilocks situation. John. Oh, John. Oh, that's ruined. Luckily, I had a swap out ready since I didn't want to waste time. So there's one right here, all cooled and done. It's never happened before. My poor cake. It can be cake pops or secret eating cake, I don't know. Anyways, so that's just carefully look so nicely, flatly baked. I'm gonna set these aside. Once your cake layers are nice and cool, it's time to add on your buttercream. I like to pipe it on just because it's fast and neat for me and it doesn't tug at the cake. A lot of times with a really tender cake, if you're tugging at it, trying to spread buttercream, it will break or tear the cake layers, which is not where you want to be. This is much easier and it's kinder to your cake layers. And you can see how fast it is too. It's like, oh, in an instant you're done. Next layer on. Now we're gonna add the outer buttercream on. I'll add like a nice kind of thick layer on top. Check the sides out. Make sure everything is nicely aligned, nothing's leaning. And you have a couple options. You could either do a naked cake, kind of like this, semi-naked, which I like, where you just have a very thin layer of frosting on the outside, or you could completely encase it. So we'll see how I feel. All right, I'm using a bench scraper to scrape the side of the cake. Let's clean off the excess every couple of turns. And I'm gonna go for semi-naked and see how I like it. Okay, now for the top. So use an offset spatula if you have one, and just smooth it out. Back to the bench scraper once you're semi-satisfied with the top. There's like a lot of excess to remove. Now take your offset spatula and pull in while you turn. To clean the edge of the cake stand, I'm just going to use a paper towel and remove as much as I can in a couple swipes. Fold it over and then just do the same thing. You can switch to a damp paper towel and that'll get rid of the rest. Once you're satisfied, you can just give it one final swipe to clean up anything on the bottom that happened. That's pretty good. Now we have a nice basic cake ready for a couple more decorations, maybe some spires or dollops, maybe like a little seashell pattern. Could have some confetti sprinkles. Let's see what we want to do. I thought about my plain little cake for a few minutes, went to the market, got some flowers, and here's what's gonna happen. Just gonna arrange some roses on top like a little crown. I thought about my cake and these little flowers, and I actually don't like all of the green parts here. I think it's distracting. So I'm just going to clean the flowers off so it's just petals. And I think that'll look nicer, more two-tone. I didn't want to bring a third strong color in like that. Just by the by, you could do whatever you'd like. There we go, just a little bit of gardening later. Your pretty pink vanilla cake is ready. I'm gonna cut this and photograph it and I'll be right back. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a taste. Let's see how this turned out. My first time eating my own vanilla cake recipe. A little dainty bite. Oh my God. I mean, it is just like so delicate, tender. If you overbake the cake, or any cake, it's gonna be hard and crusty and dry out. So really using those cake strips makes a big difference. I can't encourage you enough to check that video out. You've got to watch the video. If you use cake strips already, let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you. And if you want my current favorite cake recipe, go ahead and check out my German chocolate cake. It is delicious and just like, oh, it's so amazing. Check it out. Thanks so much for watching. If you like my videos, hit that like button and subscribe. Bon appetit.